You have choice. You have always had choice. What change can we be today? What action can we take to create a future of greater possibilities? Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast with your host, Simone Milasas. Oh my goodness, welcome everybody to Choice, Change and Action podcast. How are you on this beautiful, beautiful, wonderful day at the end of 2021, leading into 2022, easy for me to say. So I've been nicknaming the years for the past few years. Funnily enough, 2020, I actually nicknamed the year of chaos. I apparently got that correct. I'm nicknaming 2022 the year where dreams come true. So what is your dream? And it's like, what would you like 2022 to be like for you? So a couple of things I wanted to, it's just me today. You don't have a guest, you've just got me, moi, okay? So a couple of things I wanted to, suggest for you. It's like, see if you want to play a little bit coming into the new year. And I found this piece today that I actually wanted to read to you. I have no idea who the author is. It says author unknown. And it's called Being in the Forest. She sat at the back and they said she was shy. She led from the front and they hated her pride. They asked her advice and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud, then were shocked by her silence. When she shared no ambition, they said it was sad. So she told them her dreams, and they said she was mad. They told her they'd listen, then covered their ears, and gave her a hug while they laughed at her fears. As she listened to all of it, thinking she should be the goal they told her to be best as she could. But one day she asked what was the best for herself, instead of trying to please everyone else. So she walked to the forest and stood with the trees. She heard the wind whisper and dance with the leaves. She spoke to the willow, the elm, and the pine, and she told them what she'd been told time after time. She told them she felt she was never enough. She was either too little or far, far too much, too loud or too quiet, too fierce or too weak, too wise or too foolish, too bold or too meek. Then she found a small clearing surrounded by firs, and she stopped. And she heard what the trees said to her, and she sat there for hours, not wanting to leave. For the forest said nothing, it just let her breathe. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that beautiful? It's like, how does it get any better than that? And how often throughout your whole entire life, every single time you share something with someone, you share your dreams, you dare to dream out loud, you talk about what it is that you desire to create and have and be and generate in the planet. And then what happens most of the time? Do people put you down? Do your family put you down? Do your friends put you down? Do you make people too uncomfortable when you actually choose to be everything that you can be? That is what I have noticed over the years. The second book I ever wrote, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, one of the things I noticed was when I was in debt, and I found that I was $187,000 in debt when I finally, sat down and went, okay, I'm going to work this out. I'm going to have a look at this because nobody is apparently coming in and being all magical and changing it for me. I've got to change it myself. So when I finally looked at it all, and I realized I was $187,000 in debt. And then, it was a bit of a like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? And I started taking some action and I started choosing different. And, and if you desire, it's all in my book, Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. There's a lot of great stories and a lot of fabulous tools that literally, changed my financial reality and made me a multimillionaire. So there you go. You can choose it or not choose it. But the piece here that I would like to address is that, when I finally got out of debt and I actually had money, I was sitting there going, wow, I actually have money. This is interesting. And I noticed I was bored. So I realized, because I asked myself questions, what are you creating debt for, Simone? Like, what do you love about creating debt? And I realized it had, a level of excitement for me because rent was due. So I was like, okay, I've got to create something so I can pay the rent. Or, I'd like to go here. So quickly I've got to, create something so I can pay for that. And I had lived so many of my years like that. And I knew it. I was really comfortable with it. Now, here's the piece I find interesting. Everybody else was really comfortable with it. And then when I actually started, got out of debt, and then when I realized, gosh, I'm creating debt because I love it, I'm comfortable with it, I know that energy, I know it so well. And when I chose to change it and then went, oh, Simone, I made the demand for myself, you actually have to educate yourself and learn what it's like to have money. So when I started looking at that, and I did this all on my own. I mean, not all on my own. I had Access Consciousness tools, and I had the universe, and I had consciousness has my back and all of that. But I wasn't sharing it with everybody because the one thing I had noticed when I was sharing it with people previously, no one was really that enthusiastic about me changing anything. It was like, oh, yeah, sure, bet you can't do it. And I realized over the years that so many people get too uncomfortable when you change quickly. Well, like this, this amazing infinite being in the forest, what if you surrounded yourself by the earth, by the universe, by nature, even by people who actually just let you breathe and let you choose? And if you don't have that around you, what if that is one of your demands for 2022, is that you start asking for more people to show up in your life who are kind, for more people to show up who actually have your back, like truly have your back. They don't just say it. Most of the people who have your back don't talk about it. They just do, okay? And they actually let you breathe. They're in allowance of you and your choices. What if that is one of the things that you are asking for in 2022? So I noticed with like having money, educating myself, and over the years, and the more money that I've had, it creates a lot of judgment in people's worlds, and it also creates judgment when you don't have money. So either way, are you going to please them? Nope. That would be a no, Bob. So what if you actually just chose for you and chose what works for you? Because if you spend your entire life, trying to please others and trying to fit into the box that they've decided you should fit in, are you going to be happy? Or are you just trying to make others happy by what you choose? So a question I would ask you too is, who do you think of when you choose? Write down 5 people. So I'm going to give you some home play today. Number 1, write down the top 5 people that you think of before you choose. Now, I'm not looking at making you wrong here at all, and I don't want you to go into judgment. What I would like you to do is be in question. Because if you choose and you go, oh, well, I always think of my kids, or I always think of my husband or my wife or my neighbor or my friend or my family, etc. Well, where are you in the computation? And most people think that when they choose for themselves, they're choosing against others. That's not true. Just because you're choosing for you doesn't mean you're choosing against others. A great lesson I learned at one point was with my stepson that I had. We lived together for 8 years. And at one point, I was looking at choosing some different things. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, said to me, if you choose for you, you actually empower your kids to choose for themselves. And I realized it was such a gift, because every time if you're going, I've got to choose for them, you're not showing them that they have infinite choice. And my friends, you have infinite choice. Okay? You actually have choice. You have more choice than what you've been allowing yourself to have. So what if 2022 was about you acknowledging you have infinite choice and really having a look at what it is that you would like to, actualize as your reality? So here's another piece, another homework, okay? Hey, why not? Maybe New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. And make it happy. And choose again. Hey, let's look at that. Happy New Year. What do you choose? Like, for years, when I lived in Sydney, Australia, it was about going out and getting drunk and having the best night of the year. It was just, you had to have so much fun. And then years later, I was like, wow, I'd actually rather be, just with a couple of friends. At one stage when I was with my ex, there's a few New Year's Eves in a row. We'd be, asleep by like 9, 10 o'clock at night, had a few champagnes, etc. And then at midnight, I'd be sitting out on my balcony with nobody except for my dog, because my dog would be freaking out about all the fireworks. So I'd just be like patting him going, Max, it's going to be okay. It's okay. And I would laugh because I'm like, this is me going into the next year trying to console my dog that everything was okay. But hey, that's just a choice, and everything is just a choice. So what works for you this new year? I mean, if you're going to a party, great. If you're having a party, great. If you want to just stay at home and have a glass of champagne and watch Netflix, great. If you want to stay up on your own and watch the stars, great. If you want to, have a bath, and drink some champagne in the bath and watch a show or listen to some great music, great. Whatever you choose is okay, but choose it for you. So here's, and you could do this home play on New Year's Eve. So here's a second home play I'm giving you. And what I want you to do is I want you to write down, get a notebook if you want. I mean, I think it's always fun to do old school because we're not used to that, pen and paper. So if you want, go buy yourself a really beautiful notebook and see if you can section it into different areas. And these are the ones I'm going to give you, but you may come up with some more. Is write a heading, and you could do an Excel spreadsheet as well. This is what I did but I love an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so you can I wrote down business as one topic, money as a second, relationships as another. The fourth one was sex, fifth one was body, and then the sixth one for me was geographical. So what I wanted to look at, and I did this in 2020, was what would I like my life to be in all these different areas? And it's not something that you write down and then you go, yes, that's it, I get it. It's like I'm continuously looking at this. But when I started it, it gave me the freedom to breathe. Like the forest, it gave me the freedom to breathe in all of these areas and actually ask myself questions. Well, what is it that I would like? Because most people will always put business and money together, and most people will put relationships and sex together. But that doesn't have to be. You can have sex without a relationship, and you can have a relationship without sex. You can have a business that isn't creating great revenue, and you can get revenue coming in from somewhere completely random. Now, do they hold hands well together? Yes. But they don't have to. If you make that a necessity, then you may actually miss out on these golden possibilities that show up with you with business or even relationships. I mean, one of my best friends is gay and married, and it's like, but if I went, I only have relationships with men who I can have sex with, then I would have eliminated that friendship. You see how insane that sounds? So with business, it's like I look at, is this congruent to my ask? Is this congruent with what I am asking for to create in the world by my choices? Okay, so then I started to look at, because I was going on tour a lot as well, so I was getting a little tired and finding that my only downtime was on a plane, which can get a little scary. So I wanted to look at, if I destroyed and uncreated my whole entire life, what would I choose? And, if you've been listening to my podcast, you'll know about the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, and you can find out more about it on theclearingstatement.com. But literally what you can do right now is destroy and uncreate your entire life and everything that you've chosen, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what if everything you've ever been told about business, money, relationships, sex, bodies, the world, you found out was a lie? What would you choose? Because now more than ever, ladies and gentlemen, we have choice. And you got to stand up and choose now. You have to choose now. What is it that you would like to choose? So for me, I went through all of these different areas. And I've been working with Access Consciousness for 21 years. And I literally went, okay, if I wasn't facilitating, what would I choose? And I indulged in everything, and I indulged in doing nothing. So that's like you having a blank canvas. Like you've got this canvas that's just blank. And you go, well, what would I like to paint? What do I want to paint with? It's like there's all different, platforms. There's all different materials that you can use. So what is it that works for you? If you truly start to have a look at what works for you, you will create the phenomenal life that you have only decided exists in the future. Well, what if the future was now? So everything it doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive what it is that you could be choosing, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So I started to I'd go for a walk on the beach, I'd go for a run, or, I'd be washing the dishes or watering my plants or, in the middle of a class, anything, jumping out of the shower. And I kept asking, what is it I would like with all of this? Because, of course, when I broke up, when Brandon and myself broke up the relationship, then the immediate projection is, oh, do I want another one? Do you choose another relationship? And I had no idea. I was like, do I? He chose another relationship. So then people go, oh, he's choosing another relationship with you. And I'm like, I have no idea. Let me ask some questions and discover what it is that I would like. So I started to look at that. And for me, I went, oh, it's not about relationship either on or off. It's not in a relationship single. It's like there's a whole lot of other choices available. So I started to look at what are the aspects of relationship that I like. And for me, it's like I love, cooking in my kitchen, glass of wine, some great music, and talking with someone about possibilities, what next? And it's like being really creative. Okay, you don't have to have a relationship to do that. I have some fabulous friends. It's like I love sleeping in a bed with someone every now and then. I actually don't choose to sleep in a bed with someone every night. So even looking at that, going, okay, so someone in my bed 2-3, nights a week, or a couple more if required, but if not, that's okay. It's like, and then having some space to yourself, and then looking at it going, I actually really do desire space. In this 10 seconds, I'm not so sure that I would choose to live with somebody else again at the moment. And also never say never. Don't conclude any of this. This is not a conclusion list. This is a question and extrapolation session for your life. Okay? Question and extrapolation session for your life. So ask, what is it that would work for you in business? Are you currently doing what it is that you'd like to do? Or would you like to do something different? And if it's something different, start writing it down. What is it? Do you like, baking cookies? It's like, or do you want to be more involved in finances or real estate or, talking to people? Like, what is it? Start to get clear on that. Money. Do you actually know how much money that you're earning? And if not, what if that was part of your home play too? So get a profit and loss statement and start to look at how much, if you can get 12 months, and start to have a look at how much it costs to actually create your life. So what I do with this is you do, say for example, car. So you go, okay, I'm spending, $200 a month on petrol. Okay, so you go, well, it cost me $200 for my car. But actually, if you look at a profit and loss statement, oh, you've got registration, you've got insurance, oh, you've got new tires, you've got the car serviced. So if you look at everything that goes with your car maintenance, it probably, and divide it by 12, then it actually costs you $280 a month that you need to run your life, So if you write down all of this and get clear on what it costs to run your life, every single time I do this, I'm in shock. I'm like, oh my God. And then I get over it and I start asking for that amount of money and more. And the first time I did this, it was $8,000 a month that I required. And I wasn't earning even close to $8,000 a month. And I remember sitting there thinking, how the fuck am I going to make $8,000 a month? But that's not really a question. That was more of a beyond, is what we would call it in Access Consciousness. Like these moments that it's a beyond. And if you have that beyond moment, then what you can do is destroy and uncreate all the beyonds, creating the beyonds. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And then what I did do is sat down and went, okay, so like the name of this podcast, choice, change, and action. What choice can I make and what can I change and what action can I take today that would allow me to actualize, generate, have $8,000 and more? Don't forget to ask for more, okay? So that is something that you can do with money. So you've got these columns, right? Or this notebook that you've got. Business, money, relationships, sex. Do you like sex? And if you like sex, you're not in a relationship, then what would you like that to be like? I played on dating apps for ages and it drove me freaking crazy, but I did, not ages, long enough is what I want to say. It felt like ages. So, but what is it that I would like to ask for? Would I like a lover? Would I like two lovers? It's like you're allowed to ask for whatever it is you desire. And if that pops up when I say that and you go, oh, that's bad. You shouldn't be asking for two lovers. What if you asked for three? I'm just saying, guys, it's like anything is possible. But what if you didn't choose based on somebody else's reality? Going back to that piece that I read about being in the forest and the points of view that every single person has around you, if you just for a moment indulge in the energy of there was no people on the planet, what would you choose? Would 3 lovers be so bad? Or would it be damn exciting? This is your life. Are you choosing it? So then I looked at, for me, my body. It was like, what would I like to create with my body? And, it sounds very, growing up, a lot of people look at the size of their body. And that was definitely a big piece for me. It was like always, trying to lose weight, etc. And then as I've gotten older, I've noticed that wasn't so prevalent in my world. And it was more about stop judging. I desired flexibility and strength in my body. Like I want to be able to keep moving, keep hiking or running or choosing different things, So then I went, okay, so what would I have to choose in order to have that flexibility and that strength? And no judgment. That was number one, no judgment of my body. And can I tell you, when I actually chose no judgment, that my body shape started changing. Just a hint there, ladies and gentlemen. And little segment here, I'm actually doing a class over January with Mr. Christopher Hughes, who some of you guys know. He's been in my podcast quite a few times, and it's called It's Your Body, Are You Choosing It? So you might want to check that out as well. It's Your Body, Are You Choosing It? And I think you can get it on SimoneMilasas.com/choosing. I'm not sure. They're going to put it in the show notes. Go to my website anyway. You'll find it. I'm so bad at that. I have an amazing amount of people that I'm surrounded by who have my back and contribute to the business that I have. And I'm so incredibly grateful to them. So now the last one I had on my list for this book, Excel spreadsheet, whatever it is you want to choose, is geography. Because I was really looking at, where do I want to live? Do I want to live in Australia? Etc. And then what I realized was I was doing, again, this either or, rather than, what if I had more than one home? So that's what I've been working on, more than one home. So I've actually got, the castle in Italy that I part own. And I've also got a private casa in El Lugar in Costa Rica being built. So that would be, I think, finished by the end of 2022. So, and then what else would I like? Like, what else is possible geographically for myself? So for me, that's the things that popped up for me. Now, you could add one friends. You could add one that's family. It's like, there's so many different things that you could add there. And when I started to look at all of this as well, and what it is I'd like in all these different areas, a main theme kept popping up for me, and it was to be more in communion with the earth. And one thing I realized I had to acknowledge was I'm already in communion with the earth. What if I started receiving more from the earth? So what if that's one of the demands you made in 2022, is you started actually receiving more from the earth as well? Because you actually, you get to create your future. You really do. You get to create your future, and you get to ask for what it is that you would like to show up. So what future are you asking to create, to actualize? Where are you rejecting the possibilities and not asking for the possibilities to show up? And everything at that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because by your very choice, you create a future. So let's, for example, say you desire to create more money in your life, okay? You are choosing more money. So how many of you go to the judgment of it? You go to the judgment of, well, I don't have the money, or I can't, or it's too much, or the doubt, etc. Well, you're judging it. The judgment creates nothing except for less than. The judgment will create the scarcity and the poverty. What I would like you to start asking for is, what's it going to take to create the money for this? Whatever it is, what is it going to take to create the money for this? And one of the things that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, spoke about one day, which I just loved this story, is he said, look, he started creating his future with money by, buying one thing. Buy one crystal glass. It's like buy, one silver spoon. So that sterling silver spoon, like you want a whole flatware set, but you're like, oh, that's going to cost me thousands. So buy one spoon. And every single morning, it's like stir your coffee or your tea with that spoon. And by choosing that one glass, that one spoon, I mean, I drink my coffee out of a Versace coffee mug. It's cost me $500. I only have one. But it's like, I love making my coffee with this Versace coffee mug every morning. It's showing the universe that I'm asking for more. Because you actually magnetize money to you, you magnetize possibilities to you. So when you start choosing that one thing, then you're saying to the universe, universe, show me something else that's possible. Show me the money, show me the happiness. If you actually wake up and you choose happy, you're showing the universe that you're asking for more of that. If you have, wake up and you have this generosity spirit and this kindness in the world, then you're showing the universe that you're asking for more of that. So what if you could be a magnet? You could magnetize a future that is far greater than you've ever, ever dreamt of. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So sitting around talking about your wish list and your desires does not create. Your choices create. Choice, change, action. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the podcast. So your choices create. So what future can you create that will actualize becoming everything that you would like it to be? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wish you the best fucking new year in the world. Whether you are sleeping, you're on your own, you're shagging, you're having a bath, you're listening to Mozart, you're cooking, you're drinking a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, you're making cocktails. Whatever it is that you choose it because it's fun for you. Okay? Choose it because it's fun for you and your body. So I will see you in 2022. I'll see you in 2022 and hopefully get to see you somewhere in the world soon. Just have way too much fun, ladies and gentlemen. Big hugs and big kisses to you all around the world. Mwah! If you're enjoying this podcast and have a question or topic you'd like me to address, please leave a review wherever you are listening. The best way for me to know what it is you want to hear about is to send in your questions, and we actually read all the reviews that come in. So let us know which episodes you loved and what you want to hear about next, right there in the podcast reviews. And thank you. Truly, truly grateful.